Welcome to Sacred Echoes of India. In this segment, we explore how India's CO2 footprint remains remarkably small compared to other nations, despite its vast population and rapid economic growth. By examining factors such as low per capita emissions, sustainable consumption patterns, including reduced meat consumption and a strong commitment to renewable energy, we uncover how India balances development with environmental responsibility. This analysis highlights India's pivotal role in the global fight against climate change and its dedication to building a sustainable future. As the world grapples with the pressing challenge of climate change, the spotlight often falls on nations with significant carbon footprints. However, when viewed through the lens of per capita emissions and historical contributions, India emerges as a relatively low contributor to global CO2 levels compared to many other countries. Despite being the world's most populous nation and a rapidly developing economy, India's per capita carbon emissions stand at approximately 1.9 metric tons, far below the global average of around 4.7 metric tons. In stark contrast, developed nations such as the United States and Canada have per capita emissions exceeding 14 and 15 metric tons. This disparity highlights that India's contribution to global CO2 levels is modest relative to its size and population. When considering cumulative emissions, a critical factor in understanding historical responsibility for climate change, India's contribution is remarkably low. Developed nations have been industrializing for over 2 centuries, emitting vast amounts of greenhouse gases during this period. According to data from the Global Carbon Project, the United States and the European Union together account for nearly 50% of historical emissions, while India's share is less than 3%. This historical context is essential when evaluating the burden of addressing climate change. A significant reason for India's lower emissions is its energy consumption pattern. While coal still plays a major role in India's energy mix, the country has made remarkable strides in renewable energy. As of 2023, India ranks 4th globally in installed renewable energy capacity, with ambitious targets to achieve 50% of its electricity from non-fossil fuel sources by 2030. Solar, wind, and hydropower are rapidly expanding, reducing the dependency on high-emission energy sources. India faces the dual challenge of fostering economic growth and uplifting millions from poverty while minimizing its environmental impact. Despite these constraints, the government has launched initiatives like the National Solar Mission and the International Solar Alliance to promote renewable energy. Efforts to improve energy efficiency through programs such as Ujala have contributed to reducing emissions without compromising development goals. India's relatively low carbon footprint is also a reflection of its sustainable lifestyle and consumption patterns. The average Indian consumes significantly less energy, meat, and other carbon-intensive goods compared to citizens of developed countries. Meat production is a major source of greenhouse gas emissions globally, accounting for methane, nitrous oxide, and carbon dioxide release. India's largely vegetarian dietary habits, rooted in cultural and religious practices, contribute significantly to reducing its overall emissions. Traditional practices such as reliance on public transport and shared resources inherently contribute to a smaller ecological footprint. India has consistently advocated for the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities in international climate negotiations. This principle acknowledges that developed nations, having contributed the most to historical emissions, should bear a larger share of the burden in addressing climate change. Despite its limited historical responsibility, India has voluntarily committed to ambitious climate goals under the Paris Agreement. including reducing the carbon intensity of its GDP by 33 to 35% from 2005 levels by 2030. While India's CO2 footprint is smaller than many other nations, the country recognizes the urgent need to balance development with environmental sustainability. By continuing to invest in renewable energy, promoting energy-efficient technologies, and fostering international cooperation, India is positioning itself as a leader in the global fight against climate change. India's small carbon footprint relative to its population and developmental stage is a testament to its commitment to sustainability and responsible growth. As the world seeks equitable solutions to the climate crisis, India's approach underscores the importance of historical context, sustainable practices, and shared global responsibility in building a greener future. Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more insightful videos. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.